Hello again everybody, welcome back to Test Flight in the F-86 Sabre. Let's go ahead and continue with the running of the checklist in preparation for engine start, so let's go ahead and step back to the cockpit. Okay, while I'm at it, let me look at navigation equipment. I have this radio compass device that's going to tie into this, radio compass dial. And it looks like this one does need to be calibrated. This is what I was expecting to happen with this dial, although that does not mean that this dial is functioning incorrectly. So what I would need to do right now is calibrate this to the position that I'm facing. And I'm saying this with the confidence of someone who is learning the system from scratch, so I could go back and correct myself if I do find out later that I'm wrong. Okay, so I wanted, 138, and that is just a touch more, 138. So now this is calibrated, and this will give me a true bearing, a magnetic bearing to, magnetic, not true bearing, magnetic bearing, since I believe this is calibrated for magnetic deviation about 6 degrees already. Yeah, since it is calibrated using... Well, I take that back. I don't know. Close enough. I'll get to this in the navigation portion. Okay, so let me see. What I want to do is figure out if this thing is going to work. So what I want to do now... Okay, I have a whole lot of stuff here. This, I remember, is not going to work unless I have the canopy closed. Let me close the canopy. It's another one of those little details that I just remember from reading the manual, because the receiver for it is right back there mounted on the canopy. So I have a few controls that is going to control the antenna, and it's like a little loop antenna back there that... Okay, that's the loop, so I can change the orientation of the loop using that, and that can, I hope, increase the quality of the signal that I'm getting. Okay, COMP 10L loop. I'll have to figure out which one of these that I really want for this. What I intend to do is tune to a NDB that I know is out there. Okay, I'll go for one that's like 530 or something. It's out here in this area. It's one that I tuned to on the... Okay, here we go. I use this one on the... Okay, CW voice doesn't work. Okay, right there. This is one that I used. I believe it's out to the... It's the one I'm thinking of. It's back behind me at this point, so let's see what kind of bearing that I get. Okay, this is pointing off to... That's... okay. I don't think that actually did... Okay, there we go. Okay, that's what... Oh, of course, COMP, compass. Okay, so what that's going to do is put the bearing to that NDB right there on the compass. The one that I know that I have tuned is right back there. It's like halfway between here and... Oh, whatever that airfield is back there on the coast. And if I had the little Morse code, I could identify it by the little Morse code signal that's coming in right now. Okay, so wow, that was actually way too easy to figure out. Hopefully that's it, and hopefully that's how it really works. Let me see if there are any other NDBs in the area. And you can see the quality of the reception coming in right there on that dial. And if you turn it too fast, it kind of flukes out on you, so you have to do it really, really slowly, apparently. I got something. I think this is a... Actually, if you hear how the NDB is still coming through, even after I tune off it, I believe that was a bug that was already reported, so... Yeah, so I'm assuming, yeah, I believe that will get correct and get fixed here eventually. But for now, let me go ahead and turn that off. Just to kill the noise. I'll turn it back on as an ops check of it just to make sure that it is actually tracking the NDB as I start to taxi and start to change the orientation of the aircraft. Okay, so keeping coming through the checklist, and you know, this checklist isn't all about, it's not really intended to be read verbatim and done like this. Really what a flight crew checklist is, and you might get differing opinions on this, but my opinion as a experienced aircraft maintainer, at least, is that the intent behind a checklist isn't to have something there to go through step by step. You break it up into manageable sections of it that make sense. You go through, perform those sections, and then come back to the checklist and reference it, and verify that you performed the checks. I mean, there is nothing wrong with going step by step, and if you're learning something from scratch, or if you're just not sure exactly what you're doing, by all means, step by step. But the intent behind a checklist is not necessarily to go step by step. That's how you can get the air in less than like 2 minutes in F-86, and we'll get to that point eventually. But right now, there's just too much stuff to learn. There's too much neat stuff to go through that we discovered by going step by step. Okay, so that was communications and navigation. Okay, they're set. Landing gear emergency release handle in. Okay, that. Emergency jettison. Canopy declutch. That sounds kind of dangerous. Emergency landing gear. I even have a little procedure right here. That's the handle. It does not seem to be active. No big deal. I do not plan on doing any emergency procedures with my gear unless I can absolutely help it. Operation procedure. Move landing gear operating handle to gear down position. Pull landing gear emergency cable. Hold until main gear auxiliary gear indicate down and locked. Very neat. Okay, but that is in. And yes, speak of the devil, canopy declutch handle in. Got that. That was right by that place. Sight mechanical caging lever to cage. That is to the cage position on the sight. Instrument power switch to alternate. Instrument power switch alternate. That. Huh. Okay, instrument power is sure not ringing a bell. Have I seen that before? The only thing that I remember alternate is right here on the utility hydraulic gauge. If I were an instrument power switch, I would be up here. Huh, I am going to have to come back to you on this one. I will be right back. Oh, okay. And I should have just kept it with the overall theme and figured that, okay, it's bound to be down here right where I was looking. Instrument power switch is currently in normal. I'm going to put it to alternate. Oh, I see what this is doing. This is an ops check of the primary and alternate inverter. So what's happening is I'm getting direct current power off of the generator that's hooked up to the aircraft right now. The generator, well, yeah, that's how it works. DC power comes into the aircraft, and then there are two inverters, a primary and an alternate inverter. And what the inverters do is transfer the DC power to AC power, direct current to alternating current, because some instruments, especially flight control instruments in these era of aircraft, or any era of aircraft, run off of alternating current, a lot of them, and a lot of other systems run off of direct current. So you have both choices, and we have a primary and an alternate inverter. So if my primary inverter goes offline or burns out or just doesn't work, I can switch to alternate. And I also get this light. It's going to tell me that the main inverter is off. So if I see this light come on, that's my cue to go to the alternate position and use the standby alternate inverter. So now we'll go back to norm, light out, good to go. Okay, very cool. Okay, instrument power switch to normal, got that. Warning lights and indicators and test warning systems, check. What this is going to be referring to is that as you come around to these little lights. They're like push to test lights. You can push in on them and verify that the bulb inside works without having to kind of scratch your head and wonder, hey, is this system really working or is the bulb just burnt out? Well, these aren't working just now. They don't really matter. The important ones are up here. And oddly enough, this is where the spare bulbs would be kept. So what you could do is, if you did find one that was burnt out, these would just unscrew, take a bulb out of here, pop it in, screw the head back on, and fire up and work like a champ. Okay, got that. Rudder gust lock handle in. I think now what the rudder gust lock is it's just like a mechanical lock for the rudder to keep it centered up so it doesn't get blown around in the wind. I think it's this handle. I could be terribly wrong on that. I think, yeah, I just remember it being down here. I think that's it, actually. Even though it's not marked, I could be terribly wrong. If I do figure out a better answer on that, I'll get back and pass that on. But okay, got that. Lock handle in. And by pushing it back in, that unlocks the rudder and allows it to move around on you. Okay, flight controls, check. So, okay, I just did a good rudder check. I can verify freedom of movements. Ailerons, a horizontal tail. Good movement on all. And they're running off of the alternate flight control hydraulic system. Good job on that. Normal trim switch, check. Normal trim switch. Auxiliary flight control stuff is down here. Lateral alternate trim, normal trim switch, check. Oh, the normal trim switch is the trimmer on the stick. So what I want to do here is trim down, or just cycle it through all the range of motion. And really what you're doing in the F-86 is making sure that it doesn't stick in any particular direction. Because I guess that was a problem with the stick at some point, was that they had a tendency to stick and could lead to excess trim being applied. So you just do a quick ops check of it and make sure that your trim is working. And radio compass check. Okay, I guess I jumped the gun on the radio compass, but yeah, I already did a good check of the radio compass. Everything is A-okay. So now, we're ready to start the engine. That took, God knows how long that actually took, but in reality, you'll breeze through that in a couple of minutes max, once you get everything down, because it's essentially a check of off, safe, and normal on the switches, ops checks of some important systems, and just verification of operation of a few systems, setting up your communications, setting up your navigation, and then you're right into starting up the engines. And from here, well, you're probably saying to yourself, well, now this is where the quick start guide kicks in and all the other videos that you've seen kick in. Although, yeah, there are some very, very good videos out there. I'm not bashing anybody's videos, but I just try to do something that's unique with these. But you'll find that there is, again, a lot more to the story. But what I'll do now, since it is a good spot to break this video up, is put a pause in here and come back next time with the full engine start and show some ops checks that are associated with post-engine startup. So thanks again for watching. I hope you're enjoying these. I sure am, and I will see you next time.